Thank you very much, Federica, for your kind introduction. Uh, and and thanks to everyone here for being here. It's a great honor and pleasure to be speaking to you today. For the sake of time, we decided that I was going to present alone. So, but Lionel is there also for questions. So I would like to present today try to follow the instructions for discussion. And first of all, I would like to highlight that when we talk about Latin America, we are talking about a particular region that spans from Mexico in the north to south to Argentina and Chile in the south. And it comprises more than 20 countries, depending on how you classify Latin America, how you specify that. But it's more than 20 countries, and it's estimated to have 660 million people, which compared to other countries like India, we were talking, it may not seem much, but in terms of diversity, I think it's a big, very diverse region. And this is one of the things I would like to highlight. And also to mention that there is a tradition in imaging community in Latin America, but mainly based on microscopists. So there are a number of scientific societies that have been nucleating imaging scientists through the last decades. SciASM is one of them, probably the biggest one, which is a confederation of Inter-American Committee of Societies for Electron Microscopy, which typically dynamize the imaging community along the continent, and among others that are listed there. And I would like to talk today about a new initiative we had taken recently, which is called Latin America Bioimaging, which has an executive committee so far of a temporary executive committee from 7 countries. We put this forward, as Federica said, thanks to the, I would say, Catalyst project that was a national cooperation project between 2 countries, Uruguay and Mexico. And thanks to that project, we could kind of catalyze the creation of Latin America Bioimaging. So what have we done so far? It's the first thing is that I would like to present to you is a web page. I invite you to visit, and to all of those of you who are from Latin America and want to register, I invite you to do it. So it's free and it's a self-registration. We are having some success with that. We would like to expand that soon. And for the first thing we did was a meeting to try to get to know each other, because we have been working for years in scientific societies, but I think we thought we needed to take another aspect of the imaging community. So we had an initial meeting, which was successful with more than 120 participants. And we did also, like Federica mentioned, another meeting with the Europe, together with Global Bioimaging. I'm not going to go into those details. I must say that we have all the information available, freely available. All the talks from these meetings are freely available in our YouTube channel that I also invite you to visit and explore. So just to give you a glimpse of the diversity we see in the region, from these initial meetings, we kind of got the feeling that we have like 3 groups of countries, the diverse realities according to imaging communities. So we could say that there's a country where with a first group with 4 countries, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico, that are quite well organized and developed in terms of imaging. Another group, incipient, let's say, not so well organized yet, or small, like Uruguay. And we still have a lot of work to do with other countries that are just beginning to join us and beginning to participate. I just listed here a couple of nice examples of how well organized are some of the countries, like Argentina, that they have already set up a national microscopy system, which is a governmental initiative, and it has just for you to have an idea of this, of the numbers we're talking about, it's like 97 centers with around 180 microscopes, 5,000 microscope users, and so on. For instance, Brazil, it's quite obvious, but it's a giant country with a very long tradition as well, and lots of resources and big variety in the imaging community. And just to give you a number that gives this idea, it's like they have reported like 700 electron microscope in the whole federation. So this gives you the idea of the size. And they have all sorts of technologies including cryo-EM and all very high technology equipment. In contrast with this, we have countries like Uruguay, which is a very small community, where we have only 6 confocal microscopes so far in the whole country, and very few users. And this year was the first, we are establishing the first 2 photon microscopes in the country, thanks to Lionel participation and the support from Chance Sackler initiative to support Lionel for push forward this imaging unit that Federica just mentioned. Nevertheless, despite these regional diversities, we think we are very convinced, and we are very grateful with the big countries as well to be cooperative. And this is, I think this is the main lesson we have learned. And for instance, I was mentioning this project funded by the governments of Uruguay and Mexico, in which a small country, very small country, got together with a big country like Mexico. And thanks to that association, we could kind of catalyze something that was already being kind of cooked, but hasn't crystallized yet. So we're very happy to learn from these kind of experiences and very excited about it. So regarding what happened during the last year and a half, it's also very diverse and depends on the reality of different countries. We have certainly experienced a huge impact in public opinion about science, about the importance of science. And I like to mention this very impressive example. For instance, our representative from Peru, he was involved in the development of diagnostic kits for COVID, and after that he got a lot of public attention, and he's now elected congressman in Peru. And this happened something similar in Uruguay and in other countries. Not in all of countries, as you know. In Brazil, for instance, science was the president has a strange opinion about science and all that. And in spite of this, let's say, highlight about science in the society, we still face a big problem in financial issues from governments. So this is a kind of paradoxical situation when, for instance, in Uruguay was very well known that, and all the scientists were in the spotlight. However, the budget for science for the next 5 years was reduced. So, of course, well, another example is that what happens, the economic instability that was even deepened in this pandemic time. And, you know, the exchange currency is a big problem for salaries, for funding, for all kinds of, it has a big impact on the development of the imaging community. Of course, we have had like a reduction in some countries about the usage of imaging facilities. Argentina, for instance, is one of them. But in other countries like Uruguay, probably because of our small scale, we were able to react quickly and develop strategies that I would like to highlight also the positive things that we learned from this situation. Of course, we realized that that virtual training and operation is not the same. So we kind of value the personal in-person training and all that. But we have developed strategies to cope with this situation. And of course, as other mentioned, the pandemic has underscored the need for the data handling and all that. a very positive thing that we would like to highlight is that thanks to the pandemic, paradoxically as well, we were able to accelerate all the process of Latin American bioimaging development. So this is something very, very, very important for us, and we think this is going to bring new new positive things for the imaging community in the region. So thinking about the next 5 years, I think that strengthening this network is one of the main goals. We will continue searching for funding. We have already presented a proposal for CCI funding for international networks. And we're doing that in cooperation with all the members of the network. So this is very exciting for us. We think one of the important aspects that we want to face in the next 5 years is to develop a national and regional hubs of the network, taking advantage of the local characteristics and the diversity. So strengthening what we have in the local countries, but trying to promote like integration on that level. So also foster global interactions, so that the one we're having with global bioimaging, and of course improve data management and integration at the regional level, which is also something that we talk about global bioimaging management board, but I think it's important in a regional level. I must say that Chile and Mexico are going to present on their own by invitation from global bioimaging. So we kind of gave a perspective, leave their opinion apart, taking that into account. So with that, I would like to remind you to join, go to the website to those from Latin America and register, and thank all my colleagues, supporters, and to you, Federica, for all your support. Thank you.